Tonight, cameras expose hospitals where the dead refuse departure, moving, watching, breathing, and rewriting everything we trust forever.
These are not ghost stories whispered online. These are cold hallways, active wards, real patients, and real security cameras that never blinked. Gurneys move without hands, sheets rise without bodies, figures stand where no one is assigned, staring as if waiting to be remembered. Every clip tears open the thin line between life and whatever comes next, forcing one terrifying question. What if death doesn't end here? What if hospitals don't just save lives, but trap the last echoes of them? You will see moments doctors deny, footage buried, and seconds that feel wrong in your bones.
Before we begin, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered now.
At 2:17 a.m., a fixed CCTV camera in a closed psychiatric wing recorded a barefoot patient sprinting down an empty hospital corridor while the night nurse watched from a monitoring room 3 floors away. On camera, caught on low-light sensors, no one believed the motion path because it bends backward, as if pulled. The figure appears semi-transparent at the edges, her shadow lagging half a second behind the ceiling lights, while doors she passes shutter shut without contact, and the audio track captures a thin whisper, almost like breath dragged through plastic tubing, causing scientists shocked by the footage to suggest a convergence of low-frequency infrasound, sleep deprivation psychosis, and residual spatial memory, an effect where trauma replays itself, blurry like fog on a pickup truck windshield, yet frozen in posture like a Nevada roadside statue. If something can run without touching the floor, was it escaping the ward or retracing the moment it died there? Shortly before midnight, a trauma room security camera scanned an empty ICU bay scheduled for renovation, with no staff logged inside for over 6 hours, filmed in infrared, caught on a rolling timestamp. Scientists shocked when the gurney accelerates without inertia. The hospital bed jerks sideways, then slides smoothly against gravity, its metal rails vibrating as if brushed by unseen hands, while the camera feed warps and the room temperature drops sharply enough to fog the lens, followed by a dry, dragging sound, heels or bone scraping across tile though no footsteps appear, leading analysts to propose electromagnetic interference interacting with residual muscle memory fields, a theory suggesting spaces remember pain the way ice remembers pressure, faint as an air-conditioned chill yet fast and deliberate like an NHL winger breaking away. If the bed was being repositioned, who was still lying on it? At 1:10 a.m., a mortuary corridor camera in a regional hospital recorded activity inside sealed refrigeration units while only one technician was signed in, asleep in a break room. On camera, caught through steel doors. No one believed a human outline could compress that way. A pale head pushes through a barely opened morgue drawer, features blurred and semi-translucent, its shadow falling upward against the light source as the audio track crackles with a wet whisper and the camera briefly distorts, consistent with reports of shadow people in 18th century medical journals. Entities described as flattened silhouettes linked to death storage spaces and prolonged grief, possibly explained as pareidolia intensified by low oxygen, electromagnetic bleed, and the human brain's fear of watched silence. If the dead require containment, what happens when containment remembers them instead? During a night shift live stream in an understaffed ward, a mobile phone camera captured a patient-like figure clinging to the ceiling tiles above active staff. Caught on handheld video, filmed during a routine round. Scientists shocked by inverted movement vectors. The form appears thin, semi-transparent, moving in sharp, sliding bursts opposite to gravity. Its shadow misaligned with the fluorescent lights as ceiling panels tremble, and a faint childlike whisper echoes, similar to La Llorona folklore, historically associated with hospitals near water systems, where grieving spirits are said to move above, not among, the living, possibly linked here to vertigo-inducing camera angles, stress hallucinations, and low-frequency hums from ventilation that trigger primal fear responses, light as recycled air, yet precise like a gymnast holding still. If no one looks up during night shift, who learns to stay above sightlines? A body cam worn by a night orderly recorded a dim patient room after lights out, with no assigned occupants and a locked door confirmed moments earlier. Filmed at chest height, caught as the door opens inward. No one believed the stillness afterward. A tall, blurred silhouette stands half-formed behind the doorframe, edges flickering like signal loss, its shadow falling sideways as the room temperature drops and a slow, rhythmic breathing overlays the audio, prompting researchers to suggest a mix of REM intrusion, electromagnetic spikes from medical equipment, and spatial echo, a theory that intense emotional events imprint themselves, faint like cold air from a vent, but unmoving and deliberate like a parked semi on an empty highway. If something stands perfectly still long enough, does it become part of the room? At 4 a.m., a grayscale hallway camera recorded a single wheelchair positioned at the nurse's station long after visiting hours ended. On camera, caught rolling against the light. Scientists shocked by directional reversal. The chair rotates, then glides forward without visible force, its shadow splitting in two under static heavy footage, as lights flicker and a soft clicking, like knuckles or brake teeth, echoes, a pattern some folklorists compare to banshee accounts from 19th century infirmaries, where warning spirits announce death through sound and movement, possibly explained today as vibration resonance, air pressure shifts, and human fear projecting intent onto motion, light as a passing draft yet purposeful like a mail truck stopping at the wrong house. If hospitals are meant to heal, why do some corridors still practice arrival announcements? At 2:43 a.m., a hallway CCTV camera outside a surgical elevator recorded an elderly patient stepping forward while no staff were present on that floor. On camera, caught mid-motion, filmed as gravity stops making sense. Her body tilts at an impossible angle, feet sliding backward while her torso leans forward into the open elevator, shadow bending away from the light source as if detached, the frame stuttering while the temperature sensor logs a sudden drop and a faint metal-on-metal whisper leaks into the audio, prompting analysts to suggest a convergence of vestibular failure, elevator electromagnetic pull, and spatial disorientation amplified by low-frequency hum, like condensation on a truck mirror that shouldn't move yet slips anyway, slow and deliberate. If the elevator was empty, what was she leaning toward? Just after midnight, an ICU room camera scanned a prepared bed awaiting a transfer that never arrived. Caught on night vision, filmed with no motion alerts. Scientists shocked by fabric behavior. The blanket lifts, twists, and snaps sideways, as if yanked by invisible hands. Mattress springs compressing without weight, while the camera warps and a dry, rushing sound, too fast for air, cuts through the silence, leading some to theorize pressure inversion caused by HVAC surges interacting with residual body heat patterns, a phenomenon where recent occupancy leaves a thermal imprint, light as recycled oxygen yet violent like a goalie blocking a slap shot at point-blank range. If no one was admitted, who was already trying to leave? At 3:21 a.m., a morgue camera monitored a preparation room logged as inactive for the night shift. On camera, caught without alarms, no one believed the sheet moved first. The covered form beneath the cloth subtly rises, the outline sharpening, then blurring as lockers vibrate and a low whisper, almost a sigh, slips into the static, the shadow beneath the table pulling opposite the ceiling light, which researchers link to documented cases of banshee-like death omens in early hospital records, where sound and movement preceded loss, possibly explained now by infrasound resonance and grief-induced perception, thin as chilled air, yet heavy with intent. If death is confirmed, why does the room still react? At 3:14 a.m., a service corridor camera captured a laundry cart halted inches from an elevator that never opened. Filmed in full color, caught during routine transport, scientists shocked by delayed response. The elevator indicator flickers, cartwheels rotate slightly without rolling, and the fluorescent lights pulse as if syncing to a heartbeat, while the air visibly shimmers near the doors and a faint clicking echoes, suggesting electromagnetic interference mixed with human expectancy bias, where machines mirror anticipation, subtle as static in a radio, but precise like a timer hitting zero. If the elevator never arrived, what signaled it to prepare? In a critical care unit, A ceiling-mounted CCTV feed displayed nurses reacting to something behind the camera, not on the patient monitor, on camera, caught in reflection, filmed during stable vitals. A translucent shape flickers across the glass screen, edges dissolving as machines briefly flatline then recover. The room temperature dropping while a whisper overlays the ventilator hiss, leading some to reference shadow people lore, entities tied to reflective surfaces and medical trauma, possibly triggered here by stress, electromagnetic bleed, and mirrored depth perception, faint as breath on glass, yet fixed like a stare held too long. If nothing was behind them, why did the equipment respond? At an unscheduled hour, a corridor camera recorded a lone staff member walking away while a wheelchair moved in the opposite direction. On camera, caught rolling uphill. No one believed the timing. The chair pivots, pauses, then advances against floor grade as lights flicker and the feed distorts, a soft rolling whisper trailing behind it, suggesting vibration memory in polished floors combined with low-frequency resonance that tricks motion sensors. Light as a passing draft, yet persistent like footsteps you can't quite outrun. If something follows without closing distance, is it waiting for you to stop? At 3:56 a.m., a ceiling-mounted CCTV camera in a surgical hallway recorded an unattended gurney accelerating sideways while no staff were logged nearby. On camera, caught mid-impact, filmed as wheels leave the floor. The gurney slams into the wall, lifts, and partially rotates, its shadow snapping in the opposite direction of the overhead lights as the footage distorts and a sharp metallic screech cuts through the silence, followed by a brief audio dropout, leading analysts to suggest a mix of floor vibration resonance, electromagnetic interference from nearby elevators, and residual motion energy, an effect where objects remember previous force, faint like condensation trembling on steel, but violent like a shopping cart hit by a truck mirror at full speed. If no one touched it, what applied the force? Shortly after midnight, a long-term care hallway camera documented a sealed transport cart stopping precisely at the center of an empty corridor. On camera, caught without push, filmed under stable lighting. The cart rolls forward, slows, then halts as if responding to an unseen marker, its reflection stretching unnaturally across the polished floor while doors remain shut and the fluorescent lights hum at a lower pitch, producing a whisper-like vibration that microphones barely register, causing scientists shocked by the alignment to theorize about low-frequency standing waves interacting with wheel bearings, a phenomenon subtle as chilled air drifting along tile yet deliberate like a car braking for something you can't see. If hallways guide traffic, who was this one guiding? At 2:11 a.m., a ward camera captured staff attempting to stabilize a covered patient during routine transport, caught on security feed. Filmed during normal procedures. No one believed the resistance. The sheet tightens, lifts, and twists against the hands holding it, forming a semi-defined shape beneath as the gurney shudders and the camera flickers, shadows sliding independently of the overhead lights while a low rasping sound emerges, prompting explanations involving muscle memory spasms, static buildup, and fear-induced misinterpretation. Yet the motion appears too coordinated, light as fabric and recycled air, but forceful, like someone pulling from inside. If the body was sedated, what was pushing back? At 2:41 a.m., an MRI suite camera recorded two staff members suddenly collapsing near the active scanner without visible cause. On camera, caught during idle scan, filmed as alarms lag behind motion. Both figures drop simultaneously, sliding toward the magnet bore as if pulled, shadows stretching toward the machine while the footage warps and a deep thrumming tone spikes, leading experts to suggest sudden magnetic field fluctuation combined with vertigo and metal resonance, a force invisible like pressure change in an airplane cabin, yet decisive like a rip current grabbing ankles. If the machine was idle, what reactivated the pull? In a darkened hospital room, a night vision camera documented a covered patient lifting several inches above the mattress. On camera, caught without vitals change, filmed in green spectrum noise. The gurney frame creaks, The sheet tightens around a semi-transparent outline, and the temperature drops enough to fog the lens while a slow whispering hiss overlays the static, encouraging theories of thermal lift, air pressure imbalance, and neurological misfires. Yet the ascent is smooth, controlled, lighter than breath, but steady like an elevator starting upward. If the body never woke, why did it rise? At 3:17 a.m., a mortuary security camera captured a covered body forcefully shifting as a technician approached, caught on fixed lens, filmed under locked conditions. Scientists shocked by timing. The sheet balloons upward, slams back down, and slides sideways as lockers vibrate and the image fractures, shadows misaligning while a dry knocking sound echoes through the room, evoking historic accounts of shadow people associated with death storage areas. Figures said to manifest through movement rather than form, possibly explained as infrasound, stress hallucination, and electromagnetic bleed, thin as cold air escaping a freezer, but intentional, like a warning knock. If the dead are finished, why do some still refuse placement? At 1:12 a.m., a mortuary security camera recorded 3 covered bodies resting on stainless tables while no staff were logged inside the room. On camera, caught under sterile lighting, filmed after motion sensors went silent. One sheet tightens around an empty shape, lifting at the shoulders as if inhaling, while another sags unnaturally flat, its shadow stretching toward lockers that vibrate without sound, followed by a soft fabric whisper like cloth dragged across bone, leading analysts to speculate about thermal memory, residual muscle tension, and low-frequency hums that can animate fabric, blurring like steam on glass yet holding posture like a statue left in a freezer. If the bodies were still, why did the sheets adjust first? At 2:09 a.m., a hallway camera labeled Wreck captured a lone figure pushing a cart toward a sealed exit during a blackout drill that never occurred. On camera, caught walking away, filmed without footsteps. The figure fades slightly with each step, semi-transparent at the edges, shadow misaligned with ceiling lights as the cart wheels roll without rotational blur, and the audio track records a faint whisper, almost counting, prompting researchers to suggest sleepwalking overlaid with motion compression artifacts and stress hallucination, thin as reflected light on wax, but steady like someone who knows the route by heart. If the exit was locked, where was the figure going? Just before 3 a.m., a night vision patient ward camera scanned occupied beds when a pale shape detached from one mattress. On camera, caught mid-rise, filmed as nurses slept. The form lifts vertically, semi-transparent, limbs elongated and jittering as it slides toward the ceiling, its shadow lagging seconds behind while the temperature dips and a whispering hiss leaks into static, drawing comparisons to La Llorona. Historically described as hovering apparitions tied to grief in hospitals near waterlines, possibly explained by REM intrusion, infrasound, and visual persistence, faint as cold breath, yet deliberate like a swimmer pushing off a wall. If something leaves the body at night, does it ever return by morning? At 2:14 a.m., a morgue camera recorded a single refrigeration drawer opening while a technician reviewed paperwork across the room. On camera, caught without alarms, filmed as lights flicker. The drawer slides open slowly, stopping inches short, the shadow inside appearing deeper than the compartment allows as the camera distorts and a low dragging whisper echoes, consistent with folklore surrounding shadow people, documented in early pathology notes as depth without source, possibly caused by electromagnetic interference, expectation bias, and grief amplification, blurry like breath on freezer glass, yet fixed like something waiting to be acknowledged. If the drawer wasn't summoned, what answered instead? At 2017 hours, a corridor CCTV camera captured a patient suspended inches above the floor near a closed elevator. On camera, caught without cables, filmed in clean frame. The body hangs motionless, semi-translucent around the legs, shadow pooling directly beneath as if pinned, while the feed ripples and a low electrical hum surges, leading analysts to theorize vestibular collapse, camera sync error, and electromagnetic lift illusion. Light as a pressure change in an airplane cabin, yet frozen like a mannequin mid-drop. If gravity failed for a moment, what replaced it? At 12:08 a.m., a nurse's station camera recorded staff approaching a covered gurney parked incorrectly in the corridor. On camera, caught during response, filmed as distance closes. The sheet balloons upward, snapping toward the nearest nurse as the gurney rolls backward against force, wheels squealing while lights stutter and a sharp whisper cuts through the audio, suggesting static discharge, air pressure inversion, and panic response. Yet the movement is targeted, fast as a reflex, light as fabric but purposeful like a shove meant to warn. If the dead don't move, why do they still react? At 2:08 a.m., a night vision camera in a recovery ward recorded a masked nurse adjusting sheets while all patients were charted unconscious. On camera, caught under green spectrum, filmed as fabric rises first. The sheet arches upward without hands beneath it, forming a shallow chest-like curve as the nurse freezes, shadows slipping out of alignment and the audio capturing a faint inhale not matching any breathing nearby, leading researchers to suggest thermal lift, pressure imbalance, and stress-induced auditory bleed. Yet the motion is smooth, controlled, lighter than cloth in air, but deliberate like someone testing gravity. If no lungs were active, why did something breathe? During an overnight ER surge, a handheld phone camera captured a dark silhouette crossing between patient bays not listed on staff logs. Caught on phone, filmed through fabric. No one remembered seeing it. The figure appears elongated and semi-transparent, its movement sliding rather than stepping as the curtain ripples without contact, shadow detaching from ceiling lights while background noise dips unnaturally, prompting theories of motion blur, compression artifacts, and fatigue hallucination. Yet the silhouette blocks light consistently, thin as a reflection but solid like someone standing too close. If it wasn't staff, why did it know where to go? At 1:34 a.m., a casual hallway recording shows a seated staff member using his phone while a wheelchair stands motionless behind him. On camera, caught out of focus, filmed without intention. The wheelchair's handles shift slightly toward the wall, wheels rotating a fraction as shadows stretch forward. No sound recorded, except a low rolling whisper that doesn't sync to movement, leading analysts to propose floor vibration memory and camera parallax. Subtle as reflected light, but persistent like something adjusting position when unobserved. If it didn't move while watched, what happens when he stands? In a dark storage ward, a night shift clip shows IV stands swaying while no air circulation is active. On camera, caught in silence, filmed without alerts. The stands oscillate in opposite directions, shadows sliding against the floor, while the far gurney remains still. Audio capturing a faint metallic tapping rhythm that doesn't repeat evenly, leading experts to cite building resonance, infrasound, and neurological pattern seeking. Yet the motion pauses when the camera zooms, resuming only when framing widens. If the room reacts to attention, what is it waiting for? At 3:19 a.m., a fixed corridor camera recorded a patient-shaped figure standing barefoot in a closed wing. On camera, caught mid-stillness, filmed with no motion blur. The figure appears semi-transparent from the knees down, shadow pooling beneath instead of trailing. The image distorting as if depth collapses while temperature sensors log a brief drop, suggesting camera sync error, electromagnetic bleed, and spatial memory replay. Yet the posture remains human, patient, as if waiting to be acknowledged. If no one is scheduled there, who is still standing watch? In a monitored recovery room, a nurse reviewed charts while the covered patient behind her moved. On camera, caught in peripheral view, filmed during stable vitals. The upper body rises beneath the sheet, forming a shoulder line as the bed frame creaks and the camera briefly pixelates, a dry whisper slipping into the audio that matches no spoken language, leading to explanations of muscle reflex, medication reaction, and visual lag. Yet the motion pauses exactly when the nurse turns. If the body wasn't awake, what knew it was being watched? Hospitals are places of healing, but they are also places of endings. Every hallway has absorbed final breaths, unfinished words, and moments that never found closure. What you've just seen isn't presented as proof, nor as fiction, but as fragments. Moments caught when cameras kept watching after humans stopped paying attention. Shapes that shouldn't move. Sounds without sources. Presences that appear only when the world goes quiet. Maybe these are tricks of light, exhausted minds, and faulty sensors. Or maybe hospitals remember more than we think. Maybe when life leaves too suddenly, something lingers. Not angry, not violent, just unfinished. These videos disturb us because they happen in places we trust, under fluorescent lights, surrounded by machines designed to keep us safe. And yet, something still slips through. The most unsettling part isn't what we see, it's what we almost see, what stays just out of focus, what seems to react when noticed. Now it's your turn to decide. Watch again, slow it down, trust your own eyes. If these stories made you uneasy, curious, or kept you watching in silence, let us know. Like the video, leave a comment with what you believe is happening, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered for more leaked clips, unexplained recordings, and the moments we were never meant to see.